Hey, everyone. I'm just a couple minutes late. Get everything going here. All right, we're going to be getting people in here live. Hey, everyone. Okay. Open up my chat box. Sorry, I got double screens going here. I don't do YouTube Lives very often. Normally, I like to have a guest host with me, and I had someone lined up, but that didn't work out. So I am going to just do this solo today. Getting my mic set up. I just pulled it out of the recording studio. I was going to do that in here in the office instead. All right, we got some people in here live. Where y'all coming from? Who do we have? Go ahead and comment in the chat section and see who we have, and let's dive into some questions. So if you guys could introduce yourselves, that would be fantastic. And then also, now that I've got my mic hooked up, can y'all hear me? How's the audio there? You could let me know in the chat section here. Got Nicholas from Oakland, California. Welcome, Nicholas. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. I'm sure we'll get some more people in here. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm actually going to start off with a question from a current student, and he is actually right here on my wall. That is Mike. He's part of my mastery program, and our goal is to get him out of this office onto the success wall. So he's in Indiana, I believe, or Indianapolis. Let's see. We got Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Raymond. I've seen you around. Good to have you. Denver, Colorado. Sounds good. Thank you, Mark. Welcome. So go ahead and ask any questions you have. We're going to start with Mike's question, though. He sent it to me through the Facebook group. I kind of answered it there, but I think this is a great one. So if you watch any of my YouTube content, if you've seen anything about the story of going from a window cleaner to being a real estate investor, I truly believe the success that I've had is become mainly because I've gotten good at finding off-market discounted properties, right? And once you get good at that, you can either keep them as rentals or you can wholesale them and sell the purchase contract and make a lot of money and have financial freedom because you're finding discounted properties, right? But you have to produce leads first, right? Before you can get those contracts and make money, you have to go out and do the work to produce a lead. So Mike created a lead, right? So he went out and drove and he found someone that was consider selling their property. So then he needs to screen them to see if they're a fit for him or, what the situation is. And so he sent me a series of text messages. Of what he sent to this guy. So he texted him and he said, "Hi, this is Mike, right? This is my student, Mike. I'm a real estate investor here in Indianapolis, and I'm finding deals all over central Indiana, including in your market. What could I add? Could I add some of those to your portfolio?" And he said, let's see here. Why is that not working? Looks like he texted him a couple of times before he responded. The next one is, how did you get my number? He told him how he pulled it. He pulled it from a public list. The next one is, oh wait, that is not the text. This is a whole nother text stream that he sent me. This one is actually in the Facebook group. That's not the one he messaged me. Here we go. So he said, "Hi, this is Mike. I saw your property at this address. Would you take an offer?" And he said, "Yes." He said, and so Mike responded, "Okay, great." Sorry, this is really small writing, so I'm like having to put it in my eyeball here. "Okay, great. Well, we purchase properties cash. We pay all the closing costs. There are no real estate commissions, and the best part is we buy them completely as is. You don't have to put another cent into the property. So for an offer like that, how much would you take?" And he said 210,000. The seller did. He just straight 210K. That's all he responded. So it's just like 3 digits responses so far. A yes, a 210K. So he's obviously not like, oh, Mike, I'm so glad you reached out. I really want to sell my house, right? It's just yes, 210. He's obviously not super, super motivated, right? Tire kickers and people that are just kind of curious, usually this is the kind of responses you're going to get, right? So Mike responded, well, he said, that's a big number. Who helped you come up with it? And he said, market analysis. So very, very short answers, not giving a lot of information, right? Gotcha. Honestly, that's kind of high. Have you considered listing it with a realtor? His answer, yeah. Right. It sounds like a nice house. Have you done any major remodeling, the kitchen, bathrooms in the 5 years? He said, nope, that's what I am about to do right now. And Mike asked, what would you fix before you put someone else in it? And he said, everything is done except the kitchen and bathroom remodels. Mike responded, gotcha. Have you thought about just renting it out? And he said, I'm not going to rent it. My daughter is living in it now. Would like to move to a warmer climate. So he's giving some information now. Mike said, gotcha. Sounds like a great goal. I myself wanted to vacate somewhere else. So he's building some rapport. And then he said, how soon are you looking to make this happen? He responded, next spring. So he's not in a huge hurry, right? This is October 5th. So he wants next spring. So, I mean, he's no hurry whatsoever, right? And he said, can I help make this happen sooner? He said, sure. How much are you walking away with when we pay the mortgage? And he said, oh, I only owe 29,000. I lived in the house for 15 years. Took me a year to remodel it. I stripped the wood, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike said, great. What dates and times would you work best to see the property? He said, I'd have to check with my daughter. You can check it out on Zillow, he said. So he's obviously not like super, super interested in showing it. And then Mike said, it's much better to see it inside and out as it is now. I will have my acquisitions team reach out to you about this. It's much better to see it inside. And then he responded, okay, just don't waste my time. Right. So this guy's obviously like not super motivated. He's telling Mike, don't waste my time. He's not like, oh, Mike, thank you. I'm excited to meet you. I want to sell this house. Right. So Mike is essentially chasing and he's walking away. Right. So with sales and acquisitions, right, the goal is to serve people. The goal is to help people. So when you are trying to get a client for any kind of company, any kind of business, your goal is to qualify them for you. Your goal is not to chase people. So according to this text stream, right, Mike wanted to know, is this good, or is he doing what he's supposed to? I would say no. I would say the point that he lost this seller is when he asked a question. So there's a reason we ask these kinds of questions. Like, okay, it sounds like it's kind of high as far as price, right? And let me go back up. And he said, that's honestly kind of high. Have you considered listing it with a realtor? Right. And he said, yeah. At that point, I would have started pulling away, because as wholesalers, as real estate investors, we're trying to get the properties low as is, right? We want to pay the lowest possible price. They're going to try and get the highest possible price, but the more we pay, the less we make, right? And so in this situation, we have to go, okay, does this seller want to sell it with an agent and go through the hassles and make more money? Because if that's what he wants, we say, okay, good luck, right? Because we're not chasing these people. We're not trying to convince them that working with us is the best option for them, right? Because that kind of becomes, in my opinion, unethical. That becomes scamish, right? We're not scammers. We're trying to serve people by offering them speed and convenience for their house. So what I would say in that situation is, yeah, I've considered selling with an agent. It's like, okay, I would have said in the next text is, that's perfectly fine. So in my mind, you have two options. You can sell it to us as is and maybe make less money, but it'll be fast and convenient and I can have it done quickly. Or you can go through the hassles of fixing it up and listing it and maybe make some more money, but take much more time and effort. What is your goal? Do you want the speed and convenience, or do you want the longer process and more money? What are you trying to accomplish, right? What are your desires? What's your time frames? And allow that seller to tell you exactly what he's going for, right? Mike was trying to convince him, or like trying to figure out, can we get this guy to sell it to us, instead of, are we finding the right person? Is this the right person for us to make money? Right. And if it's not, just be like, that's fine. And you can make money off these retail leads by referring them to an agent and that kind of stuff. Right. So I would say this is not necessarily a good lead. It's not like Mike screwed this up. I just felt like, getting to that motivation and getting to what that seller wants is the key to wholesaling and finding that person that you can truly serve. Right. There's a big difference between, like, let me give you an example of one of the most recent appointments that I went on. So the lady was like 80 years old and lived with her son. Her other son got out of prison, very violent criminal, had been in prison for like 15, 20 years. He got out of prison, moved back in with mom and his brother, and he got drunk like the next night, came home, beat up his brother, threatened the safety of his mom, hospitalized his brother. He got a blood clot where he broke his sinuses up. And anyways, he almost died. Right. And so there was major issues there. Instead of calling the police and getting the guy kicked out, they didn't want to do that because they didn't want their son to go back to prison and brother to go back to prison. So what they did instead is they called me and said, Zach, we want to sell the house. We want to sell it with him in it. We want you to give him 2 months to move out, but we are going to grab everything we can and leave and not tell him where we're going because we don't want to have any backlash. And so we showed up at 11 o'clock at night when the guy was gone, and I went with my acquisition manager so he didn't get shot or something. And we negotiated the deal. We did the process. We gave him 2 months to move out. He did move out. We didn't have to file an eviction. And then we were able to pay them more than they asked for the property. And we're able to get them some of their nice things out of the house after they moved out. And so it was a way that we're able to serve these people and make it so they didn't have to send their son and brother back to prison. And so those are the kinds of situations and crazy things that we deal with. And sometimes it's like a super wealthy investor that just doesn't want to deal with his properties anymore, and he doesn't have the interest or desire to do it. Like my first motivated seller, I picked up 2 properties and made over $100,000 profit on those first 2 properties. And it wasn't because I knew more than him or anything. I had never done a creative deal, and he was doing multi-million-dollar developments, and these 2 rentals were just a headache. Okay. So remember, we're deal finders, not deal creators. You don't have to convince people. You have to find motivation and understand where they're coming from and see if you can't serve them in their situation. Okay. Looks like we've got some amazing questions coming in. Hopefully that helped you, Mike. So let's dive into some questions. If you guys have questions, go ahead and type them in the Q&A, and we are going to get into this right now. So let's dive in. Nicholas said, how do you get your drivers to see the owners of the properties when adding properties in Deal Machine, so they're not adding corporate owned properties? Well, first I would say we always add corporate owned properties. We market to corporate owned properties. My very first wholesale deal was a corporate owned property. It was owned under an LLC. Situation was, it was a very, very experienced real estate investor. He, at one point with his business partner in this LLC, had owned over 100 properties. And that's not 100 doors, 100 properties. And this was the last property they held. It was a single family home, right? And they had gone, like, the partnership had gone sour. That's all I got out of him. I didn't understand the details of it, but it was the last property they held. He knew he was selling it to me at a discount. I put it under contract to 80, sent out the contract for sale, and someone paid me $10,000 for the purchase contract. So we market to properties that are run down, even if they're owned in an LLC. So we make money off of rundown properties that are owned under LLCs, trusts, corporate owned of any kind, right? Or primary residence or absentee owners, right? And so you're going to pull those 3 types. You're going to get corporate owned, absentee owner, and owner occupied. The absentee owner list of the Driving for Dollars is my most profitable list, but I track the absentee owner, corporate owned, and primary resident Driving for Dollars. And I track how much I spend on each of those lists and how many leads I produce and how much what our gross and net profits are on those lists. So I will tell you, they are profitable. And if you have questions that they are not profitable, what you do is you track those numbers, you track those KPIs, if that makes sense. So my mastery students get access to my exact KPI sheet and exactly how to track that. And that's an essential part of really growing a business, is knowing exactly what you're spending and what you're making. So good stuff. Great question. Shift, how are you, buddy? He said, hi, Zach. I'm a student of yours, still not finding cash guys. Investors are holding their cash men close to their chest. No one wants to pull like you advise. Okay, so no one's wanting to share your cash buyers list, which is fine. That's something that happens quite often. So yeah, sometimes you can't trade lists. One thing that's been working really well for my students right now, and so this could go for you as well, and any other people listening to this, is a lot of these REI, Real Estate Investors Associations, or RIA meetings, sorry, Real Estate Investors Association meetings. If you Google REIA associations in my area, you can find those groups. And a lot of the times now they're having to go virtual. So they're doing like these Zoom calls, or they're doing calls online. They might have created Facebook groups, and there's ways to actually find everyone that's a part of those groups. And sometimes it's 1,000, 2,000 people that are part of those groups. And you may have to go one by one and look them up on Facebook and send them a message. Or sometimes there's an email involved, and you can send them a personal email, just introducing yourself, asking to add them to your cash buyers list. But you can quickly build a cash buyers list. You don't even have to do all of that yourself. You can hire a VA out of the Philippines or anywhere, right, in the world, and pay a very small wage, like $4 to $5 an hour, to do that kind of simple admin. And as you start to do more deals in the real estate space, these VAs across the world know that investors like us like VAs to do a lot of the admin stuff. And I'm getting 2 to 3 messages a week from people from the Philippines or India, the Middle East, in a lot of these places, asking to if I need a VA. So there's tons of people out there looking for work to do this kind of stuff for you. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. So in Deal Machine, when you tag these properties, so Shift asked about knowing if they're corporate owned. How do you know that? So when you use the Deal Machine app, and so we use Deal Machine. If you guys want to get it, if you don't have it, you should have it. It's essential. Use my discount code PIN, PIN. That's going to give you 2 months free of the route tracking software. So you know where you've driven, and it's going to give you analytics on how many properties you drove and all that stuff, right? So, or properties you added when you drove. So when you add these properties, it's going to tell you on the Excel spreadsheet if it's corporate owned, primary residence, or corporate owned, or primary residence, or absentee owner, right? And so when you export that Excel spreadsheet, all you got to do is organize that column. If you right click or double click on that column, you can sort it alphabetically, and then you can sort it and pull out all the corporate owned, and then mail that and have your own campaign for that. And sorry, I have jets going over. I live by an Air Force base, so you might hear some background noise. But that's how I would do that, right? Is you can actually see it in when you pull that list from Deal Machine. Okay. Yeah, but I wouldn't discount those absentee owners. I would just, because, like, think about it. Okay. If someone has a property that's a thorn in their side, that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to find people that have a property that's like, this property is draining me. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't want to deal with it, right? Those are the people we're finding. We're not trying to find people that are down on their luck. We're trying to find people that don't want to deal with it, right? So many of my people are very wealthy because they don't want to deal with it, right? They have the money. Some of the cheapest people are the poor people, right? Because they need every penny, and that's fine. That's fine, right? Get the most you can for the property. That's fine. But the people that want speed and convenience, they want to basically pawn off their house. They want to be done with it. That property is a thorn in their side, right? It's causing emotional pain. And if it's causing emotional pain, do they want to go cut the grass and fertilize and pick the weeds? No, they're going to put tarps on the roof when some stuff blows off. You know, there might be cracked glass and duct tape's going to be fixing the cracked glass. They're going to not take care of it. It's going to have deferred maintenance. And it doesn't matter if it's a corporate owned or primary residence, right? If someone's not taking care of the property, you should be marketing to that property. So don't overthink that, okay? Perfect. So it looks like Aaron's asking, Aaron Thompson, welcome. Do you export your DFD list and put it into PropStream to make your outreach more effective? For example, I noticed a good amount of negative equity homes, bank-owned homes, etc., that I removed on my list. Aaron, I don't. I don't pull those out because the more we filter down that list, the less chance of leads. Right? Because you may say, oh, well, no one's going to sell us a house if they bought it 12 months ago. That's one of the most common ones I hear students ask me, right? What if someone bought the house 12 months ago? They're not going to sell it for a discount. There's no equity in it anymore. But I can tell you, I've wholesaled multiple properties that flippers bought cash, got upside down, wanted help. They knew I had a cash buyers list. They knew I could assign. They put it under contract for me, what they got it for. And then we assigned it and made profit, right? So we have done deals with that situation where, so I feel like if there's a rundown house and it's still run down, you should be marketing to it, right? That physical signs of neglect speaks everything. You know, a lot of the times what I see people do is they spend so much time working on that list instead of just going to work on it, right? It's the 80-20 rule. Yeah, you might be able to pull out, 20% of the expense of that marketing list, but you're going to do way less of what really gets you success, which is adding properties, right? They're going to spend 5-6 hours to pull 100 properties out of a 1,000 property list instead of going out and driving and adding another 500 properties to that list with the same amount of time. That 500 properties is going to make way more money than saving the cost of pulling 100 properties out of your driving for dollars list, if that makes sense. So let me give you an example. My goal is to make 40 grand in 40 days. I'm going to Florida in January. I'm going to go there for 40 days with my family. The average American income is 40 grand a year. I'm going to take $1,000. I'm going to turn it into 40 grand in 40 days using the driving for dollar system, doing exactly what I teach these wonderful people behind me. Okay. And you guys are going to be able to see this on my YouTube channel day by day. I'm going to have a film crew following me. It's going to be all for you guys. Right. And this is my strategy. Pin a shit ton of houses fast. Like in the first week, I'm going to try and pin anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 properties in that very first week, because I need to produce a ton of leads. My goal is to produce 20 leads by the end of week 2. And for that to happen, I have to get a ton of addresses, right? And then reach out to those people in that first week, because for me to make 40 grand, I'm going to need to close on average probably 2 deals, right? To hit that 40 grand within that 40 days. But that means I need to have them under contract within the first 20 days, because it may take me another 20 days to close those deals, right? And so with that being said, like, your success is going to come from the lead measure. Your success is going to come from adding properties. Your success is not going to come from how do I penny pinch? How do I cut expenses, right? Yes, you can do that down the road, but your goal is to get this business up and going, and you can't manage and critique and build a team and everything if you don't have money coming in. So your goal should be get money, especially if you're just starting, right? So hopefully that helped. Shift asked another question. Are any real estate investors counted as cash buyers? I just reached out to one so I could add on my list, and he said he is looking for money guys. So he may be looking for private money lenders or hard money lenders. So a lot of the times these cash buyers that are on our list, when they buy our flips, they buy our deals, they don't buy it with their own cash. A lot of them don't have it. So they're having to use someone else's money to do these flips, right? And so I actually currently have some hard money out on a flip right now. One of our cash buyers is using my money to buy my deals, and I get a percentage every month. So I've got like $100,000 out right now, and I'm getting about $1,000 every single month for having that $100,000 out, right? And so that's, for him, the faster he can get it done, the less he has to pay me in money costs. When the deal closes, once he resells it, he pays me back all of my money and the interest stops. And so that's probably what he's looking for. And so, you'll probably be able to continue to network and find who your money guys are and who can lend and who can do those kinds of things. But yeah, a lot of the times when you're cold calling a Driving for Dollars corporate owned properties, and you find someone that's like, no, I don't want to sell the property, right? And it's like, okay, I see that it's owned under an LLC. Are you currently buying more properties? I'm an investor myself. I'm willing to network with you. Are you wanting to pick up more properties? You can actually add cash buyers, because sometimes, investors will, yes, want to sell you properties, right? But sometimes they may actually be picking up more. And you may cold call properties that were wholesaled to these flippers, and you're calling these flippers, right? And you can add cash buyers. So you should be adding cash buyers at the same time you're looking for motivated sellers. So Nicholas is asking, what's a good link to find out about your course? Yeah, great question. So you can go keep adding questions. That's the last question I have in here. Go ahead and keep typing your questions if you have them. I've still got a ton of time. I want to add a ton of value to you guys. Okay. So let's answer that question. As far as getting access to my course, to being part of my mastery program. So I'll explain what's in that mastery program, since you were curious about it. So first of all, you get access to me, right? So these are my students on my wall. I've got some more over here on that wall right there. And then out here in the lobby, hold on, I just unplugged my computer. Let me just open the blinds here. All right, I'm back. Sorry. So as you can see out in the lobby, those are some of my successful students. I got a couple pictures I need to add up there. And that's my trophy right here. This guy. This is my biggest check I've done, or biggest wholesale deal I've done. I made $84,264. And we probably beat that this month. Anyways, and then I've got my dog. You guys want to meet my dog? Rooster, come here. He's hanging out in the office with me today. My wife went and got him shots and dropped him off at the office because she had other errands to run. So he's bumming with me. So you get access to me, right? You get put on this wall, and I know your face. I know what market you're in. And as you can see here, I've got notes underneath from where they are. We do accountability Mondays. I reach out to them. We do a weekly support call where you get to ask one-on-one questions. We do like a group Zoom call, but you get time to ask one-on-one questions. So you get access to me. And my goal is to get you off this wall and onto the success wall. My goal is to make you more money than you pay me, right? And so I limit the amount of students I take for that reason, right? Because I feel like if I'm going to coach, I better add so much value that it's a no-brainer. So that's the first thing. And that's why I have to limit how many people I take, because I only have a set amount of time that I give to coaching, because I do run a wholesaling business, right? I run a large wholesaling business, and then I have this coaching company, and I'm doing YouTube videos. I'm doing 4 YouTube videos a week. And we're starting TikTok, and we're going to start a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So with that being said, the other things you get access to is you get access to my wholesaling course. You get access to my Driving for Dollars course, which is our exact marketing strategy and how we're finding so many properties. You're getting access to my negotiations course. And then you also get access to my cold calling course. So you get access to a ton of value there as far as courses. And then you also get accepted into our tribe. So all of these wonderful people, all my wonderful students, they get access to a private Facebook group just for my students. So it's just for them. It's not anything that I use for marketing, right? It's like all these other wholesaling courses, they're open to everyone. And I don't do that because I want it to be high level engagement. I want you to have a place where you can share, sensitive information. You can ask questions, you can share your success, right? Because I don't know if your families are like mine, but if I tell them about a deal that I did, or I made 30, 40,000, like people, they like kind of look at me like I'm being arrogant, and it, like, they just don't get it, right? And even my wife, I love her to death, but I try and talk to her about wholesaling or buy and hold. They're like, we should get into this kind of investment. And like, look at this hard money loan I just did. Like, look how cool, And it's like, she has zero interest. I love her to death. She loves me and she supports me, but it's just not what she's into, right? And so having that group is huge. So that's what you get access to. There's more information available on my website. So you can go to dfdmastery.com in my website. You have to apply and book a call because we don't take everybody. You have to qualify it. There's certain things that I need you to have to be able to even bring you on as a student, because I want to get you out of my office onto the success wall, right? And so you can apply and book a call if you want to. But if you don't want to, I'm not trying to convince you guys to do that, right? I don't want you to apply unless you like really want me as a mentor. Also, there are free resources too in that website. So for some of you that are watching this, there's a fully like free wholesaling course, like a full blown wholesaling course for absolutely free. And I did that because I can't coach everyone, right? And so I was like, well, how can I continue to add value? Like, how can I bless people's lives and not just be like a big pitch of, hey, I'm just doing this for the money. Like, I'm not coaching for the money. I'm coaching because I love it. So anyways, I paid $10,000 for my first wholesaling course. I paid $9,000 for my second wholesaling course. First one was complete trash. Second one was great, but I believe this wholesaling course that I'm giving away for free is actually better than both of them. So it's a great course. It's a great place to get started. If you go to the same website, dfdmastery.com, it's under free resources. And I give a ton of free resources there, including that wholesaling course that, I could truly sell for like 10 grand, but I don't. So you guys can check that out if you want. So hopefully that answers your questions on coaching and that kind of stuff. So great question. Let's keep going. I got some more questions that came in. Good stuff. Shift's going to add some cash buyers through the corporate owned properties, which is fantastic. Yeah, you can do that. I have another video Shift on this YouTube channel where I talk about growing your cash buyers list, right? I also have a video on here that talks about how many deals are being done in your market. So if you go through my videos and look up that video, it shows you how to go in and pull a list from listsource.com. And you can do it through PropStream as well, which is real similar. But basically, the criteria that you're looking for is you're looking for anybody that has purchased a house cash within the last 12 months or the last 24 months, right? And so you basically put equity 100% purchase within the last 12 months in the areas that are to middle to lower income housing areas. And 99% of the time, those are investors. And the people that bought more than one, because you'll see the duplicate ones, that means they bought more than one investment. So they're or more than one property cash, which means they're definitely investors. So you can actually pull that list, get their phone number from batch skip tracing, use my discount code DFD Frank dog, right? Which is going to give you, I think like 6 cents off a phone number. So you're gonna be like 14 cents ish per phone number. And then you can call those people or text those people and add them to your cash buyers list. So it's a really efficient way to like get actual cash buyers that are actually active. And so, you may even add less with a little bit more time and a little bit more money, but they are the proven cash buyers in your market. So, and that's also in that free wholesaling course. Okay. Pinning properties versus sniper. So elk/deer hunter list for list source is worth layering in a list for list sources zip codes that you are and DFD to create more leads? I honestly, Mark, I don't know what you're trying to say with that question. Let me try and read it again. Is it worth layering in list source or lists from list source in the zip codes that you're in and DFD to create more leads? So I think you're asking about like the absentee list from list source or lists that you're buying from list source. I don't do any of that. I have made money off of list source lists and some of these other generic lists and the code violations and the evictions and the tax delinquents. And the problem is everyone in their dog is marketing to those lists, especially here in Utah. And I've tracked my numbers. I spend more than 50 cents to make $1 on those lists, and paying an acquisition manager, paying a team, because I don't go on any appointments. I don't do any of the work, right? Once I pay everyone, I would lose money on those lists. So I cut those lists, right? That's why 80% of my business is coming from driving for dollars, because that is where I'm profitable. I'm spending about 15 cents to make $1 on that list. And so I'm extremely profitable. After paying my entire team, I'm well over 50% profit margins, right? And so I don't have another list that I'm buying, marketing to already. And you may go, hey, I'm already marketing to this list and this list and this list, and I don't want to market to the same people that are on those lists. So you may want to batch them together and remove duplicates, right? And so you're not marketing, sending the same postcard and they're getting 2 or 3 postcards from your company in the same day with different tracking numbers, which looks scammy. So yeah, you could do stuff like that if that's your operation. But I honestly believe that if you have an operation where you're already doing deals and you're already doing marketing and you have a team managing a lot of that stuff, you can do it. But if you're just starting out, I would honestly say stop marketing to those generic lists, right? Because that's what everyone in their dog teaches. That's what everyone says. Your most profitable list in every single freaking market is going to be driving for dollars, right? So if you're just getting started, go build a driving for dollars list and go market to that list, because that's how you're going to make money. And then send me a message. Thank you so much, Zach. This is how much money I made. I just moved 2 people off this board today, right? That did deals last week. So I moved, Angel Hernandez. He's in Vegas. He just did a deal for 10 grand. And then I moved, hold on a sec. Sorry, I couldn't remember how much he had made. So Ray Ruiz, he made $22,000 on his first wholesale deal in Miami. So there's a ton of money to be made, and you guys can do the same thing that they're doing. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Shift, you're on the wall. Where you at? You see yourself. I love it. I'm trying to see where you are, man. Anyways, if you didn't see my Accountability Monday, I want you to go into that Facebook group actually, and I want you to comment where you are in your business. I'm glad you're here on this Q&A. I haven't been seeing you on the support call, so I would love to talk to you and see where you're at in your business. And you also said it's a good course. I love it. Okay, how many properties should a driver paid by the hour be putting into Deal Machine? Wonderful. So it depends on your market, but pretty darn close to 100 properties every single hour, which is bonkers, right? Most people are like, oh, that's not even possible. That's stupid. My market doesn't have that many distressed properties. And I say, BS, it does. So some of our more difficult markets, they're getting 30 to 40 properties per hour. And that's where the houses are a little more spread out. It's not very gridded out. But if you have like nice gridded out neighborhoods where they're just like nice little blocks and squares, only take right-hand turns, right? Take a right-hand turn, skip a street, take another right, and then you take the next right, and you just do those loops until you hit an entire neighborhood. And if you're using the route tracking software, you're going to see exactly where you have driven, where you haven't. It's going to color coordinate those streets. It's going to allow you to know where to drive and what needs to be driven again. And we redrive every 6 months, right? So I have one driver, and he's adding 2,000 properties every single week. And he's only driving about 3.5 days, and they're full days. But we're able to get that many properties here in Utah. We have a very nice state. I mean, we have very clean neighborhoods. It's a very nice place. And so you can find a lot of properties that have physical signs of neglect. The key is not to only pin the houses that are obviously vacant and boarded up, right? We pin any house that has physical signs of neglect. So that answers that question. Michael Warren, welcome. How many times should we follow up on texting leads, assuming they don't answer the first text? So we send 3 total text messages. And the first text is, hey, we want to buy your house. And then I start using a strategy that I learned from Chris Voss from Never Split the Difference, the hostage negotiator, the FBI guy. And I start pulling away. So I send him the text, hey, I would like to buy your house, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say something to the effect of, do I have the wrong number, or are you not at all interested in selling your property? And then the third one is, I assume you have zero interest in selling me your property, even though I'm very interested. Right? You assume, you're labeling that they're not interested, because if they are interested, they're going to correct you. They're going to say, oh, no, I am. I'm sorry. I just saw your text. Or no, I'm sorry. I am. I'm just not in this very moment ready. And sometimes they're not even going to respond at all. Sometimes you have bad info. So if we try texting, we can't get a hold of them after 3 attempts, then we push them to cold calling and postcards after that. So, but yeah, that's what we're doing. Isaiah, how are you, brother? I think you're up here, right? Where are you at? There you are, brother. I was just talking to you. You're Isaiah, one of my students. I think you're on the beach. You're right here. Fresno, California. Can you see him? He's behind my mic. Right here. How's the beach, my friend? I hope you're having fun down there. Anyways, you said, when cold calling after skip tracing the driving for dollars list, what is the optimum amount of hours you recommend per day, weeks to commit to get your first deal? Cold calls, follow-ups. So the thing is if you, so basically you're asking, how long does it take to do my first deal? How many properties do I have to add to do my first deal? So I did a YouTube video on this, breaking down the averages and what you can expect, right? And I'm gonna go through and break this down, okay? So I want you guys to wrap your head around this. So let's start first with, what is the average deal size in your market, right? Because that's the first number we need to know. So what you need to do is you need to find, what's your lower income house prices. So you can just do this through Zillow. What are the houses worth in the lower income areas? And so in my area, a lower income house is like $200,000 ish, right? Pretty expensive. Some places in California, it looks like you're in Southern Cali, you're going to have as high as 300,000. In LA, some of my students out on the wall, let's give you a market, Marcelo. So Marcelo's got a couple deals under contract, and he's in LA, pretty expensive market, right? And so sometimes his low end housing is like 400,000 to $500,000. So anyways, find your low end housing prices, and maybe in Texas or Indianapolis, some of your low end, you're going to be like 30,000 on the low end to like 100,000. So it's going to vary largely depending on where you live. Okay. So I can't just say exactly what yours is going to be. So you're going to have to do some math. Okay. So follow along. Let's do this. So find out roughly what your after repair value of houses are, what your Zillow prices are in those areas. And you want about the average. Some areas you might have 200, some areas you might have 70,000. So you can be roughly $150,000 on your price of houses where you live. So your average wholesale deal, you should shoot for 10% of the ARV, of the after repair value of these houses. So if your average is 150, your average deal size should be about 15,000. So my average deal size sits just below about $30,000 right now as we speak. Okay. And there's ways to increase that, but just a straight traditional wholesale, we're at about $30,000 a deal. And like I said, I'm spending about 15%, a little under 15% to produce a deal. But I'm seeing, and depending on the student, depending on skill set and that kind of stuff, I'm seeing anywhere between that 15% to as high as the 30% of all of the gross income goes to marketing. So if your average deal is $15,000, right? Let's do the math. Let me get my calculator. I hope you guys are all following along. I hope you guys get this. Okay. If you need to, like, I know this is live now, but if you need to go back and rewatch this, this is very important information, right? This is the secret sauce, right? Real estate investing is marketing. I say it all the time. So a $15,000 deal. Now, what you do is you're trying to get 25% of that, right? So you're going to times that by 0.25. That's going to give you $3,750. If you follow my system, you should be doing a deal before you spend that $3,750 on marketing costs. Okay. And that should include your cold caller, right? That doesn't just count your cost of your phone numbers cold calling. And it's the same thing with postcards, right? If you do just straight postcards, you shouldn't be spending more than $3,750 to make $15,000, right? Which is a crazy high return. And the best part is that allows you to have enough profit margin to hire a team to do the acquisition. So you can eventually have the time freedom like I have, right? To be able to do fun things like this and help other people, or go off and hang out on a beach if that's your thing, right? But that gets boring, I promise. So for me, I'm making about $30,000 deal, right? Let me show you my average cost. So $30,000 average deal. And I said I spend about 15 cents to make a dollar. So that means I spent about 15% in marketing costs. So times that by 0.15. So I'm spending about $4,500 to produce a deal in my market. Okay. That's about what my average cost is for my marketing. Okay. So once you figure out those numbers, now you need to calculate how much work do I have to put in to produce this kind of success? How many addresses do I have to add so I can spend enough money on marketing to produce a lead? But those numbers are not always perfect, right? Let me give you an example. When I learned how to cold call, I jumped in, created my list, and started cold calling that list. On your triple line dialer, it gives you how much time you're cold calling, right? And I'm plugging away and I'm calling, and Linda answers the phone. I still remember her name. She said, "Oh, yes, I do want to sell my house." I was like, "Oh, wow, that was fast," right? It's like the second person I talked to. And I said, "Okay, yes, I would love to talk to you more about the property. Can you tell me about this property? What's the situation? Why are you selling it?" "Oh, it's a rental and I want to sell it because the tenants kicked out the skylights and then the water came in. They didn't tell me. And now the sheetrock's falling down in the kitchen. And I'm just so sick and tired of being a landlord. I don't want to deal with this. I want to sell it as is." I was like, "Why don't you just, kick them out, hire a contractor and try and make some more money?" "I don't want to deal with it," was her answer. And I was like, "Okay, great. I would love to meet you. What's as soon as we can? I'm here right now. Can you come now?" I said, "Yes, I'm on my way." I dropped everything. I drove to her house. I signed the contract. I sold that contract the next week and I made $9,000. 11 minutes cold calling. I made $9,000. So, and that means I only dialed through maybe 50 numbers. Like, it's crazy, right? And so you guys need to understand that that's not always an exact science. That is some averages that I'm seeing overall. And the cool thing is, if you hit those averages, you guys have a very, very profitable business. Like, imagine you go to Vegas, right? And you throw 15 cents into a machine and it spits out $1, and another 15 cents and it spits out $1. And then you get risky, right? And you spend $1,000 and it spits out way more, right? And you just keep having, every time you throw money in there, it spits out more. That's the goal of a business, right? Your business should feed you. Your business should serve you. Your business should have enough profits to hire people to run the day-to-day operations. It should create financial freedom and time freedom. A true business does that for you, right? That's the ultimate goal. It's not just to make some lump sums of cash and post your check and brag and be like, "I'm a badass," and go buy some fancy sports car and then and then have to go get a job, right? Your goal is to have a business that serves you, right? And that's what I'm trying to help everyone build. And I believe that the more people I help, the more that I'll learn and the more that my life will be blessed, right? And so I'm doing this completely for free, completely for you guys tonight, because I truly believe there's an excess of success that could be made. There's just certain fundamental principles y'all need to learn and implement in your lives and in your businesses to have the same kind of structure and freedom that I have, right? So great questions. Bottom left corner. I'll have to find you. You're on the beach. Huh. I'll find you. Make sure you send me an update on your business though. If you're cold calling, how important is the picture feature in Deal Machine app? Do you suggest that we get pictures? We do not use the picture update, or like you go take a picture of the house. Do not use that. Use the tap to add system on Deal Machine, right? That's what's going to allow you to add so many properties, because you're just like tap, add, tap, add, tap, add. You're not like stopping your car, getting out, taking a picture. That is going to crush the profitability of your business. And some people will say, what if we send postcards? We have that beautiful picture of the house. They're going to want to call us. Guess what? They're either motivated to sell the house or they're not. Having a picture of the house is not going to do anything. All it's going to do is have more people call and tell you to go pound sand. And why the hell do you have a picture of their house? That's all it's going to do. I have tested this with actual data and actual numbers. I have tested the differences, and we get a higher response rate, much higher, like 2 to 3 times higher response rate with the picture of a house. But it doesn't change our conversions. It doesn't change the actual leads we produce. All it does is piss more people off, right? And you're going to spend way more on postcards by doing that. So tap to add feature, okay? Beautiful. So so Shift's asking, like, what's the sequence of marketing? So when I add properties to my list, I'm texting, then I'm cold calling, then I'm postcarding, right? As soon as I get a no, I then go to the next one. So meaning if I text and I get a hold of 30% of them, the 70% I didn't get a hold of, then I cold call that 70%. If I get a hold of another 20% of them, that 50%, or sorry, the 80% that's left of that second list then goes to postcards, right? And I do that because I'm trying to get a hold of these people, and postcards is the most expensive outreach system. Texting's the cheapest, then cold calling, then postcards, right? But I do not suggest that newbies do this, right? I suggest if you are new, you start with postcards. Postcards, postcards, postcards. Postcards are extremely profitable. If you can't make money off postcards, you can't make money off the other two. The other two require more time, more skill, and more experience, right? And so I highly suggest you start with postcards. Vance Courtney, how are you, brother? Vance said, loved your numbers. Zach's the real deal and truly cares about the success of his students. Dang straight, Vance. I actually messaged Vance today. He's over here on my right. But yes, I do care about you, and looking forward to talking to you more. Aaron Thompson, what's up, brother? On Wholesale Hotline last week, they were saying to get out of wholesaling in New Jersey, and that the winter's coming. And any idea why else they would say to get out of New Jersey? That's silly. I have no idea why they would say that, to be honest. I have no idea why they would say that. Honestly, I think that's silly to even say to get out of wholesaling in any market. If someone's being successful in the market where you would like to wholesale, you can make money. There's people flipping houses in your market. You can make money. If people are buying and holding properties in your market, you can make money. It does not matter what the market is doing. You can make money in this business. It doesn't matter if the market's up, if the market's down, you can make money, because it doesn't matter what the current situation of the market is. You're always going to have people that have a property that is a headache to them. That is why we are successful. We are not successful because of market cycles. We are not successful because of of new laws that the Division of Real Estate decides is smart to do, right? Because that's just stupid, right? Because there's always going to be people that want to sell their house for speed and convenience. There's always going to be people that have a property that's a headache, right? And so certain markets may suggest that wholesaling is better, or that picking up the property at a massive discount and doing a lease option with a seller and then selling it through a sandwich lease option, or assigning that lease option, or buying it seller finance, or buying it subject to financing, or keeping it as a rental yourself, or flipping it yourself. It doesn't matter what you do with the property, because there's always going to be motivated sellers, and you may want to make money in different ways. I love wholesaling because it has taken me from a window cleaner to a millionaire, truly, right? And if I could do that, y'all can do that. Seriously. Like, I don't feel like I'm the smartest person. I'm really not. I've had some amazing mentors and some amazing people that have pushed me forward. And I have a heart to teach. I have a heart to help people. And that's what's really helped me to get to that next level beyond just doing a few deals here and there. Because the more you give, the more you serve, the more you teach other people, the more you contribute to society, the more that come back to you, right? The more I started teaching people, the more questions that I got that I'd never thought of, the more deals that I got to get an inside look at and help negotiate and help work and learn new things about real estate, right? That's what made me successful. And so my invitation is, if you want to be successful in this business, is to get started and to get to work, and then find places to start answering questions, right? There's Facebook groups everywhere, always people asking stupid newbie. I shouldn't say stupid. That's really rude of me. I didn't mean stupid. New questions, the questions that they're stupid because we hear them every single day, right? You think, how do you not see the answers? Because they're everywhere, right? Everyone's talking, like, how to build a cash buyers list, how to wholesale, like, what's the process? Like, those things are out there everywhere. There's tons of places, but someone may have just heard about wholesaling. Go in and answer those questions. Go start serving people. Go give back, because the more you contribute, the more you help, the more you'll be blessed. I promise, right? I saw it in my life. I went from $500,000 to 1.2 million because I started coaching, and that's not from coaching revenue. I don't make any money coaching. Like, truly, I spend it all on my team, on content creation, on, like, I literally take $5,000 a month home right now, right, as a coach, which is silly, because on my other business, well over 6 figures a month, right? So for me, it's like, I coach because I love it, and I love what I get out of it as a person, right? And so I feel like if you guys want to get that success as well, contribute in some way. It's going to give you so much more fulfillment too. Cool. They have a wholesale hotline in Jersey. That's silly. That's just the silliest thing I've ever heard. Of a hotline in Jersey telling people to get out of wholesaling in Jersey. It sounds like people are feeling like there's not enough deals and there's too much competition. Let's scare people out of wholesaling. Or it sounds like it's being conducted by the Division of Real Estate or realtors that don't like wholesalers, which is a common practice and a common thing that happens, right? Which is just silly on top of that, because if agents just worked with wholesalers, we would all make more money. So be careful who you're taking your advice from, right? Are these people that are giving you advice on this hotline, are they worried about their own interest, or are they worried about yours? Right? Are they worried about helping new people become successful? Be careful who you take your advice from. And that goes for family as well. I can't tell you how many wonderful people that love me have encouraged me to not go for my dreams. And maybe some of you guys have heard that from your own family. When I started my first business as a window cleaner, one of my best friends told me I would never make money with it. And that's silly. I couldn't make money. And then I built a business, and he ended up buying into the business. Right. And I've had that same friend tell me not to get out of window cleaning. Don't go into wholesaling. It doesn't exist. It's a scam. Like, these gurus are telling you that it exists, but it doesn't. Right now, he's a student. Right. And I love him to death, but he thought he was looking out for my best interest, which he was. Right. And he was trying to protect me. But you need to realize, like, your dreams are your dreams. Your goals are your goals. Find someone that is accomplishing and doing what you dream of doing and accomplishing, and follow, right? And follow along and listen and learn and grow, right? Because that person is going to help you accomplish your dreams. That person's not going to try and protect you from going from your dreams, right? I remember when I was a teenager, I fell off a ladder and I'm pretty sure I broke my foot, but I told my parents I rolled my ankle playing basketball because I didn't want to tell them I fell off a ladder because I didn't want them to tell me to not go for my dreams and build my business anymore. Right. And they didn't want me to get hurt. Right. So I told them that's how I got hurt. And so you got to realize, like, the most important people to us sometimes are not the best at encouraging us because they have fear, right? And don't let fear control the decisions that you make in your lives, please. So yeah, just click to add. And then Aaron, maybe there's some more context that I'm missing. I have to listen back to hearing what they threw off. Yeah, sounds like. Yeah. So the wholesale hotline with Pace, Brent, and Jamil. Yeah. So I don't know Jamil, but I know Brent Daniels very well. Love Brent Daniels, and I know Pace pretty well as well. I've spent some personal time with both of them. They're great guys. So I'm not sure what. I'm not sure what that is, but we have someone here in New Jersey right now. Joseph, welcome. Joseph from New Jersey. And he said, I am in New Jersey, and that has to be BS. So I love it. You know, if they're saying get out of wholesaling in a certain market, that's just silly. Like, why would anyone tell you not to do wholesaling if someone else is being successful? Joseph, thank you for chiming in and sharing that. Joe, sorry, not Joseph. Oh, Joe, you're up here. Good stuff. All right. Well, I think that is it for questions. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for taking the time to ask me some questions, and look forward to helping y'all more. And if you have any more questions, if you want to join, Joe has a bunch of leads. Joe, reach out to me. Send me a PM or put your progress in the mastery group. I'd love to see how you're doing there in New Jersey, because I know Art in New Jersey as well. I need to check in with him and see how he's doing. Beautiful. Okay. Anyways, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night. God bless each of you. Go for your dreams. If you're watching this and you're not like super into real estate, not super into wholesaling, and you have something else that you're dreaming of doing, and you're saying, no, I should do real estate because that's what everyone tells me I should do, because that's what makes me successful. Don't go into real estate. Go for what your dream is. You can monetize whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? If you can add value and serve other people, you can be successful in it. If someone else is accomplishing or doing what you dream of doing, model what they're doing and repeat the process, right? It is not complicated. You have permission to go for your dreams, right? Sometimes we just need to hear that. Sometimes we just need to hear someone to tell us to go for what we want to do. But if you wanting to get into wholesaling, if you wanted to get in real estate investing, go for it. Make the mistakes. Yes, I do mentor. And if you want to book a call and apply to be a part of my program, you're more than welcome to. But regardless, there's a ton of information and I want to see y'all be successful. Anyways, have a wonderful night. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.